From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Our top story this evening. After nearly 3 days of jury selection, the first-degree murder trial of 20-year-old Jacques Lisby started late Monday morning with opening arguments from state attorneys. But the case almost came to a screeching halt after prosecutors were accused of offering up testimony that they say prejudiced the defendant.
News Center 11's Daryl Lewis has more in this report, including some of the last words spoken by homicide victim Malik Moore. Now, a warning to our viewers, some of what you are about to hear could be disturbing.
Thanks and good evening. The first witnesses took the stand in state court on Tuesday, but because of what happened a day earlier, it almost didn't happen.
Don't know what the defense will be in this case or what you'll hear, but I ask as you listen to all of this that you keep an open mind.
It was those words and more that had public defender Jennifer Height asking for a mistrial in the case, saying they prejudiced her client. That was on Monday. Fast forward to Tuesday, that and other motions brought by Height denied by Fairbanks Superior Court Judge Robert Downs.
Going to a jury, ultimately prejudicing somebody in Mr. Lisby's shoes, the defendant in a case like this. But I don't, neither one of these, even on an additive basis, rises close to that, to the mistrial issue and denial.
Game back on, perhaps the most powerful words came from the dying victim himself, mortally wounded, still able to call 911.
911, what is your emergency? I'm on the trail along the railroad next to the Zan apartment.
The point you hung up was after you heard that the caller was connected to UAF?
Correct. As soon as I knew that they were talking to each other, I hung up.
Okay. Were resuscitative efforts successful at any point by your team?
No, they were not.
Thank you.
Jacques Lisby is accused of shooting Malik Moore 6 times with a .44 caliber handgun. If convicted, he faces a possible life prison term. Testimony continues tomorrow. Daryl Lewis, News Center 11.
Alaska State Troopers say a 5-year-old girl has died in Mountain Village after being shot. Investigators say the girl's 8-year-old brother was playing with a rifle he had used to go hunting the day before when it went off. The children were apparently home alone while the shooting occurred. The names of those involved have not yet been released. Child Services and the District Attorney's Office have been notified as the trooper investigation into the matter continues.
Who would have ever thought that the planting of some flowers 9 years ago would have, pardon the pun, blossomed into a $1 million venture today? But that is exactly what has happened for a group of plant lovers who spoke today in front of a gathering of business leaders. The peony is now in high demand across the world, and Fairbanks, Alaska is where the spotlight is focused. What grew from hundreds of roots from this beautiful flower has grown to hundreds of thousands of roots. The flower is unique enough that it is desired by collectors worldwide.
They're an old flower, but they're also very, very popular for weddings. They're very showy. They're one of the few flowers of size that hotels can use for their, their big arrangements that have to be huge because our flowers are this big around. They also have a really good vase life. If you treat them properly, if you pick them pick them, chill them, they will have a 10 to 14 day vase life.
And the flower orders just keep coming in, and Ron and Margie estimate that they will eventually have a value in the millions, which will mean more job opportunities and positive additions to the interior's economy.
Well, you'd think we'd see more flowers now, but the snow's covering them up. So Mike Schultz is joining us for our first look at weather.
They're not seeing the flowers in Healy. In fact, we just got a call from a friend, a viewer down there named Jim, who said it was snowing almost 3 inches in the last hour and continuing to snow, and then there's a good reason for it. On the radar, you can see, if you zoom in the area, it's all around the Fairbanks area and all across the interior, and some of this shower activity. It's like you would be looking at thunderstorms in the summertime, only in the wintertime. It's still very, very heavy rainfall turning to snow and becoming very accumulative at times. We're looking at that to continue throughout the next few days, the way it looks right now. And a big snowstorm to talk about in the lower 48, maybe a foot in Denver. We'll tell you all about it later on with all the weather. Back to you, Stephanie, Daryl.
Crazy, crazy weather.
Absolutely.
All right, well, when we come back, an open house is set for a new community college maintenance hangar.
Also, CPR saved a young boy's life in Fairbanks recently. That is our health report. Stay with us. And welcome back. A man with a history of domestic assault and violating protective orders was given a 2-year prison term on reduced charges. 29-year-old Jerome Benjamin Samakin had been scheduled to begin trial proceedings in his case this morning. Instead, he pleaded guilty to a single count of third-degree felony assault. A more serious charge of stalking in the first degree was dismissed. Authorities say Samakin left voicemail messages from January 21st to February 2nd of 2012 and called the victim's work phone 69 times. The messages came from a number listed to Samakin. The victim gave police a recording of the messages. In some of them, Samakin threatened to kick in the woman's door, kill everyone inside the residence, including the victim.
Last week, we talked about the importance of CPR and its beat to the famous tune, Staying Alive. But what does it mean to be certified and to actually perform it? Well, it can save a life. Today, we look at one that was saved in our health report. Meet Robbie, a normal and active 15-year-old Lathrop High School freshman. Robbie takes part in his school plays, and you may recognize him from some local commercials.
Cheapo's Heating, Cheapo Jr. here.
Where's your dad?
He's just like any other young teen. That is, until a few weeks ago when at Lathrop's Jazz Festival, his heart suddenly stopped on stage.
It's really a mom's worst nightmare to hear that her child is on life support when she dropped him off healthy a couple of hours ago. It was very, very difficult, very difficult.
One factor for the Lewis family is clear.
The thing that has come out of this for us, that's really the legacy of it for us, is the importance of CPR. It's not, I mean, there's no other way to say it than if there hadn't been people who knew how to do CPR, he wouldn't have survived this thing.
Had it not been for the few who performed it, Robbie and his family know he wouldn't be here today. And for that, they cannot describe their gratitude.
Well, I just cried. I mean, what else can you do when somebody saves the life of a loved one just by being ready for starters and being willing for seconders and having the courage and the strength to do what needed to be done. There are no words of gratitude that a person can say.
After nearly a week in a coma on a breathing apparatus and after a defibrillator was placed in his chest, Robbie says he doesn't remember much, but one thing is sure, it's changed his life's direction.
Before I passed out, my goal in life had been to go to the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs and eventually become a fighter jet pilot. After I decided that I liked the idea better of being a life flight EMT, that I would prefer to save people's lives rather than take them.
The Health Report is brought to you by the Ear, Nose, and Throat Clinic, located in the Medical Dental Arts Building. Call 456-7768.
Now you can donate to the Lewis family online at fundraiser.com. Search Robbie Lewis Donation Fund as shown on your screen to contribute. You can also find the link on webcenter11.com.
The University of Alaska Fairbanks Community and Technical College will hold an open house and ribbon-cutting event at its new aviation maintenance hangar on the East Ramp at Fairbanks International Airport tomorrow from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. The 20,000 square foot hangar was purchased in 2012. Over the course of a year, UAF has been renovating the hangar into a modern hands-on learning facility. Students began taking classes in the hangar this spring. Tours of the hangar and the recently acquired Boeing 727 will be available afterward.
Sounds good.
Yes,
Great.
Joe is here now, and even with the snow, sports goes on.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah,
Does it?
Because we can talk about
That is
future
the question.
sports, like fall sports, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Speaking of fall sports, we have some new players coming to Fairbanks this fall to play some Nanook sports, and you're going to see who they are. And high school baseball did happen.
That's good.
Just not here
Oh,
in the
okay.
interior, but come back and find out who won next.
Throwing us for a loop.
Yeah. Hello, Interior Sports fans. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening. Hope you're having a good day. And to make it a little better, let's talk some sports. We start tonight with, believe it or not, a baseball game that wasn't canceled. It was down in Delta. The Eielson Ravens faced the Delta Junction Huskies, and despite snowfall earlier yesterday afternoon and the wacky weather throughout the game, there were reports of sleet, hail in the innings, when the Ravens came away with an 8-2 win. Cody Ladd was on point in the opener for Allison with 11 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 2 hits. Ladd was also 3 of 4 at the plate, including a 2-run inside the park homer to lead Allison. 11 games have been canceled due to the weather this week in the interior, but Delta seems to be the place to be for baseball. Tomorrow, West Valley will play Delta. Then Friday, North Pole will face the Huskies, and on Saturday, Lathrop will get a crack at Delta with a doubleheader at noon and 2:30. And now we go up the hill to UAF for their new additions. Hockey coach Dallas Ferguson picks up 2 players from Kelowna Warriors of the British Columbia Hockey League. Marcus Bazara and Sean Hawkinson signed letters of national intent last week and will be on board for 4 years. Bazara, a right winger, racked up 94 points in 109 games and was a first All-Star team selection of the BCHL. Basra also has 4 hockey titles over his career. He will pursue a degree in business. And Hawkinson, a center, improved his point total every year in junior hockey and is north of 70% in faceoffs and faceoff wins in his 156 games. He will pursue a degree in petroleum engineering. In the swim team, they also added to their squad Caitlin Lauthan of Kenai and Catherine Pound from New Zealand. Lauthan holds 3 school records, and her 25.22-second 50-meter swim time would be 9th all-time for UAF. Pound is a record holder in 4 different events in 2 age groups while swimming for Kiwi West Aquatics in New Zealand. Pound will specialize in distance swims for the Nanox and Lauthan in the sprint races. And a crazy moment in baseball that occurred last night coming up in just a bit. But first, an undoubtedly courageous and historic moment for the sport of basketball yesterday when NBA center and 12-year veteran Jason Collins announced he was gay. Peter Alexander has more.
7 feet, 255 pounds, Jason Collins is no longer just a towering figure on the court, but in sports history. Just hours after he came out in Sports Illustrated, the news raced across the NBA.
It's a game that we play. It's a sport that we play. It doesn't change anything if you're heterosexual or homosexual.
As long as he's happy, then it's cool with me.
The president called Collins to offer his congratulations and support. Former first daughter Chelsea Clinton, Collins' classmate at Stanford, cheered her friend for having the strength and courage to be the first. For years, Collins said it was fear that kept him living a lie. Until now, writing in Sports Illustrated, I want to do the right thing and not hide anymore. I want to take a stand and say, me too. Collins lived what he called a double life, getting engaged to a woman, even hiding his secret from his twin brother, who also played in the NBA.
He said, look, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have considered this, but the country is at a different place, and sports are too.
On the court, Collins did make one silent statement of solidarity, wearing the number 98, the year of one of the nation's worst anti-gay hate crimes, when a gay college student, Matthew Shepard, was kidnapped and murdered in Wyoming. Former NBA player John Amici, a friend of Collins, came out in 2007 after his NBA career.
And it's certainly time that sexuality stopped being something that you could persecute people for. And maybe Jason is the guy who can make that happen.
And now, as a sports fan or just a avid TV watcher, we've all fallen asleep in front of the TV while watching a game, TV show, or movie. Even with the Alaska time difference, you could have fallen asleep and woke up twice. And last night's baseball game was probably still on. The Oakland Athletics and LA Angels played an unbelievable and exhausting 19 innings. The Angels had a 6-2 lead until the A's come back in the 8th inning, tying the game at 7 in the 9th. The teams were in a stalemate for another 10 innings. Finally, in the bottom of the 19th inning, Brandon Moss rocked the pitch back from Barry Enright, and the Oakland A's win it in the wee hours of the morning, 10-8. The game started at 7:05 Pacific time and went until nearly 2 a.m., 7 hours of action. And guess what? These 2 teams play again tonight. Now, according to the Baseball Almanac, the longest game was 26 innings between the Brooklyn Dodgers and Boston Braves back in 1920. And that game, oddly enough, ended in a tie. They probably just wanted to go home. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. For more KTVF Sports, go to Twitter, YouTube, webcenter11.com, and our mobile app. Stay cool, Alaska. Mike Schultz has your full weather forecast coming up next, and we'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back into Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again for a look at weather. And boy, I'll tell you what, we just cannot shake this weather pattern. It looks like it's going to continue into the weekend. We'll tell you more about that in a little bit. This is a sign that was sent in to me, kind of tells you what people are feeling. Spring is canceled. Life Water Engineering Company at least feels that way, but I don't feel that way because I think things will be getting a lot better next week. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. What's going on out at the airport right now? 36 degrees. That is our high for the day. The low last night, 25 degrees. Look at that record high. 76 degrees in 2009. 8 degrees, the overnight low in 1937. Sunrise and sunset, not quite 17 hours of daylight, and the barometer continues to fall. We showed you the radar a little bit earlier. As you can see, once again, there's quite a bit of focus around the Fairbanks area and a lot of activity around the Prince William Sound area. But again, the flow coming out of the north and the northwest, helping to bring that cold air and lift it up against the hills, squeezing out any moisture that we have available. And we have quite a bit from falling from the snow that we had last night, which at one time was one of the heaviest I've seen for quite a while. What's going on across the rest of the state is raining around Juneau, cloudy skies at Ketchikan, some snow showers around the Cold Bay area, actually rain showers at Cold Bay, 46 degrees. Chilly in Nome, 28 degrees. Pretty chilly in Barrow also, 7 degrees, not too bad at Fort Yukon, 28 degrees. Lower 48 weather, a lot to talk about tonight, and it's all starting to take place across the Central Plains. I was talking about a massive storm developing. You see the warm temperatures around the Las Vegas area. 82 degrees in Dallas, Denver 58, but tomorrow they're going to be in the 30s. Here comes the storm coming across, expected to bring close to a foot of snow in the Denver area and then a roar on to the northeast when around Minneapolis. They could be looking at close to a foot of snow also. More storms across the deep south. This storm system is going to have all types of weather with it. As you can see, dramatically colder air coming in, clashing with the hot, humid air. Damaging storms are possible tomorrow afternoon, and more showers and thunderstorms off to the east. Again, being driven by the jet stream, pulling that cold air down from the north all the way down almost to the Gulf Coast, and then roaring back up across the Great Lakes. Some wild weather for the lower 48. Nothing like that here in the lower, I should say in Alaska. In the northern sections, looking at snow showers at Barrow, sunny skies for Nome, also some snow showers around the Fort Yukon area. Here in the interior, scattered snow showers for Fairbanks and Healy as it continues. Hopefully not as heavy as it was in the Healy area. Over southeast Alaska, widespread rain for Juneau and Ketchikan. Then over to the southwest, we're looking at partly cloudy skies at Bethel, rain and snow in Cold Bay and Kodiak. And over the south central regions in the Anchorage Bowl, looks like Homer, Anchorage, partly cloudy, rain and snow expected in Valdez. Okay, once again, time for our kids' weather. And this week we're talking with the kids from Chinook Charter School. Here's another young lady with a picture to share with us.
Hi, my name is Kristen, and I'm in Miss Demara's Pioneer classroom. This is my weather picture. So it's really icy on the roads, and there are all these cars. One's falling into the ditch, and it's really snowy and windy out.
And tomorrow night, a young man will be here with a question for me. All right, here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. 22 degrees, once again, scattered snow shower activity. Some of it could be heavy at times. Tomorrow's forecast, looking for another day with scattered snow showers, 35. Then things get a little better. As you can see, the 5-day outlook, as we're looking at temperatures warming through the weekend into 50 degrees by Monday. How's that for being optimistic? Overnight lows will also, once again, warm nicely into the low to mid-20s, maybe even the upper 20s. And looking at any precipitation, should be stopping by Friday or Saturday, and then more sunshine and less clouds on Monday, Sunday and Monday.
Wow, I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe too, I know. But you got to be optimistic in this field.
I almost said pessimistic. See, it's in my brain. I can't get it out.
Well, that sign said it. Spring is canceled.
Okay, well, KTVF and Bailey's Furniture are teaming up for a Spring Dream giveaway if we ever get to spring, where you can win a furniture package from Bailey's valued at $2,500. Tune into the Fairbanks Evening News and News Center final from today until May 23rd for the first half of the mystery word. Then visit Bailey's Furniture for the second half and complete your entry for your chance to win. Then we'll announce the lucky winner during the Fairbanks Evening News on Friday, May 24th.
That's a good package.
No snow by then. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. As always, we are glad you could join us.
We are so glad you could join us.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, a wide range of issues covered in President Obama's news conference. That's next with Brian Williams.
And when you see news happen or you have an idea for a story, you can call our newsroom at 458-1830.
And that will do it from all of us here at the News Center. Have a good night. Drive safely. We'll see you back here at 11.
Snow long.